Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into something every parent deals with, discipline.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe not in the way you usually think about it. We're looking at No Drama Discipline by Siegel and Bryson.
Right. It's a fascinating take, really.
The idea is, what if discipline wasn't just about stopping bad behavior, but actually a chance to build skills, like emotional intelligence,
Yeah.
and, strengthen that parent-child bond?
That's exactly it. It's a shift away from just reacting with consequences. It's more about understanding what's behind the behavior and using it as a teaching moment.
We've all been there, right? The kid acts out, we react, maybe yell,
Yeah, the cycle.
and it just escalates. This book makes you ask, is that usual stuff actually helping long-term?
Well, the science suggests maybe not. Those high drama reactions, they can actually sort of get in the way of the brain development we want.
Really? So yelling could make things worse later.
It can potentially make future cooperation tougher, yeah. The brain just doesn't learn well under stress like that.
Okay, but no drama. That sounds a bit like letting kids off easy. Is it permissive?
That's a common misconception. It's definitely not about permissiveness. Connection is key, yes, but it's connection with structure.
Okay, explain that. Connection with structure.
It means clear rules, consistent boundaries, high expectations, but delivered in a way that makes the child feel understood and loved even when they mess up. It's about showing them the rules of the road within a safe relationship.
That makes sense. So knowing the rules at home, feeling safe with those rules, helps them navigate, well, everywhere else.
Exactly. And those experiences, learning to wait, handle frustration, solve problems within those boundaries, literally wire their brains for better self-control later on.
I like how the book breaks it down. First, understanding the brain.
The brain's role in all this.
Then the whole connect piece.
How to tune in during those tough moments.
And then redirecting.
Yeah.
Guiding them towards better choices now, but also building skills like insight, empathy, repair.
Right. Those long-term goals. And they even have that list, the 20 discipline mistakes. A good reality check.
Definitely. So our mission today is to really unpack those core ideas, move beyond just consequences, and see how these moments can actually be about teaching and brain building.
Let's do it.
Okay, so this shift from consequences to a teaching mindset. You give an example. I say a kid hits to get attention.
Okay, yeah, good one. So the standard reaction might be like immediate timeout, right?
Very common.
But the teaching approach, it starts with connection, getting down on their level, calm voice. Hey, it looks like you really want to play with me and you're mad I'm on the computer. Is that right?
So you name the feeling first.
You validate the feeling. That's crucial. Then you address the behavior. Hitting hurts. If you want my attention, you can use your words like, excuse me. You address the need and teach a better way.
Ah, okay. That's very different. It addresses the why behind the hitting.
Exactly. Same with homework frustration, which you mentioned.
Oh, yeah, the homework battles.
Instead of just nagging or threatening, you get curious. Why is this hard? What's going on? Maybe they're tired, maybe overwhelmed, maybe they don't get it.
So asking questions instead of lecturing. Like, what's tricky? What have you tried? How can I help?
Yes. It becomes collaborative problem solving, not a power struggle.
It really shows how often our reactions are about our stress, not their actual developmental stage, doesn't it?
Absolutely. We expect a 4-year-old to manage disappointment like a teenager sometimes, you know. Our expectations need to match their brain's capacity at that moment.
And the book talks about can't versus won't. That really struck me. Kids being inconsistent.
Right. Because their capacity isn't fixed. It changes based on sleep, hunger, stress. It's not always that they won't behave. Sometimes they genuinely can't in that moment.
So less rigid expectations, more moment-by-moment assessment.
Exactly. Intentional decisions based on this child in this situation. Now, the book pulls no punches on certain common reactions. Spanking, for instance.
Yeah, it takes a very strong stance there.
Based on neuroscience, based on research. The authors argue it's fundamentally counterproductive. It doesn't teach respect or self-control. It teaches fear. And, well, kids need to feel safe with us.
And it's not just the act itself. Even with otherwise loving parents, it's linked to negative outcomes.
That's what the research shows. And it's broader than just spanking. Isolation, shaming, threats, harsh yelling, those can be damaging too, even without physical contact.
But why are they so ineffective, according to the book? What's happening inside the child?
Okay, so when discipline gets aggressive, the child's focus shifts. They're not thinking, oh, I shouldn't have done that. They're thinking, wow, mom's really mad, or this isn't fair, or just feeling scared.
So it triggers the wrong part of the brain.
Exactly. It activates the reactive downstairs brain. The upstairs brain, the thinking, learning part, basically goes offline. So the chance for reflection, remorse, learning, it's lost.
Wow. And the book even mentions it can physically affect brain connections.
Yes, there's research suggesting negative impacts on brain structure and cell development. Plus, think about the message spanking sends. Problems are solved by the bigger person hurting the smaller one. That's not the lesson we want to teach.
And the connection between physical pain and social rejection in the brain? That's powerful. Spanking feels like rejection.
It absolutely can. So yeah, it might stop the behavior right then out of fear, but it doesn't change it long term. It might even lead to kids hiding things, lying.
Instead of coming to you when they mess up.
Right. You miss the chance to engage that thinking upstairs brain and actually build those skills. Punishment just bypasses that whole opportunity.
Okay, what about timeouts then? Often seen as the better alternative.
Yeah, and they definitely can be better than physical punishment, but the authors ask us to think critically. Do they actually help achieve the goals, cooperation, and brain building?
What are the potential downsides they point out?
Well, for young kids especially, isolation can feel like rejection. It feels like being pushed away when they might be struggling emotionally and actually need connection more.
That goes against the connect first idea.
It does, and often the timeout isn't logically connected to the misbehavior, is it? Like, you make a mess, you sit on a chair, where's the direct learning link?
Unlike, say, helping to clean up the mess.
Exactly. The consequence feels arbitrary. But the biggest issue, they argue, is ignoring that potential underlying need. If the misbehavior stems from being overwhelmed, tired, hungry, emotionally overloaded, sending them away alone doesn't help them learn to regulate. It might even make them feel worse.
So if those common reactions aren't the best, what's the core shift no drama discipline proposes?
It's about moving from reactive to intentional. Thinking beyond just stopping the behavior now and focusing on the long game. Building skills, strengthening brain connections for emotional regulation and good choices, ultimately leading to less need for discipline over time.
The book has those reflection questions for parents. Which ones really make you pause?
Oh, definitely things like, do I even have a discipline philosophy? Am I purposeful? And critically, is it working? Am I teaching the lessons I intend? Are things actually getting better?
And how does it feel? For you and for your kids?
Yes. Do I feel good about how I handle these moments? Does it strengthen our relationship? Do my kids feel loved and respected even when corrected? Those are tough but important.
It also asks about the hidden messages we send.
Right. Are we teaching obedience above all else? Or thoughtful decision-making? Are we modeling that power wins? Does our love seem conditional? And how much is just repeating our own parents' patterns?
And the apology piece? Does our approach allow for genuine remorse from them? And do we model apologizing when we mess up?
So important, because kids' brains are always changing, always learning from experience. And the book really stresses self-compassion for parents. We will make mistakes.
But those mistakes can be learning opportunities through repair.
Exactly. Repair is powerful. So the goal isn't perfection, it's being more intentional, asking why, avoiding rigid rules, focusing on behavior and feelings, and choosing thoughtful responses over gut reactions.
Okay, let's dig into the brain science a bit more. The 3 brain C's.
Right. Foundational stuff. First, the brain is complex. Different parts, like that simple downstairs reactive brain and the more developed upstairs thinking brain, ensure at different speeds and aren't always well integrated, especially in kids.
Which explains why logic doesn't always work mid-tantrum.
Precisely. Like Nina in the book, freaking out about the car ride, her downstairs brain was just running the show.
Okay, complex. What's the second C?
Changeable. Neuroplasticity. Our brains physically change based on experience. Neurons that fire together wire together.
So every interaction matters.
Deeply. Every time we respond consistently, whether with connection or frustration, we're reinforcing certain neural pathways. It shapes how they respond in the future.
And that works for positive stuff too, right? Not just negative discipline.
Absolutely. Nurturing interactions build strong, positive pathways. And helping kids make sense of tough experiences helps them encode it as learning, not just trauma. Talking about feelings builds emotional intelligence.
Got it. Complex, changeable, and the third C.
Changing. The brain develops over time. That upstairs, reasoning, empathy, impulse control, is still under construction through adolescence and beyond.
Which means we need realistic expectations. They literally don't have the brain hardware for perfect behavior yet.
Exactly. It's unfair to expect constant adult-level self-control from a child whose prefrontal cortex is still developing.
So thinking back to Liz and Nina's tantrum, Liz trying logic didn't work because Nina's brain was completely overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But Liz choosing to stay calm and connect taps into the changeable brain idea.
Yes, and it shows self-compassion too. Liz didn't get it perfect instantly, but she course-corrected. That repair matters.
So no drama discipline is about building those upstairs-downstairs connections, leading to insight, empathy, responsibility.
That's the core goal. These disciplinary moments aren't just about behavior. They're actively shaping the child's brain and character.
And reframing misbehavior as, what, a skill deficit.
Kind of, yeah. An opportunity to see what skill they're struggling with, handling disappointment, waiting their turn, sharing, and then teaching that skill.
Like the Lego story, Michael connecting with his son Matthias first.
Perfect example. Instead of yelling, he sat with the upset, offered comfort. That allowed Matthias to calm down, move from reactive to receptive, and actually learn from the situation.
So connect first isn't just nice, it's more effective for learning.
Definitely. It calms the nervous system, makes the brain ready to learn, and strengthens the relationship. It's relational, loving, and practical.
Let's talk proactive. How can anticipating things help?
Oh, hugely. Proactive parenting is about seeing potential triggers before they blow up, noticing hunger before a meltdown, giving transition warnings, having consistent routines like bedtime,
It's simple stuff, really, like snacks before swimming lessons.
or having something engaging for them during waits. It just heads off a lot of unnecessary conflict.
The book mentions HALT.
Yeah, a quick check. Is the child, or you, hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? Addressing those basic needs can often prevent misbehavior.
And the river of well-being metaphor, what's that about?
It's a visual for emotional balance. Sometimes kids veer into chaos, overwhelmed, disorganized feelings. Other times into rigidity, inflexible, resistant.
Like a tantrum is hitting the chaos bank.
Exactly. Or digging their heels in is hitting the rigidity bank. Discipline, in this view, is about gently guiding them back to the calm flow in the middle of the river.
So Michael sitting with Matthias was helping him get back in the river.
Precisely. Using nonverbal comfort, empathy, listening. Those are tools to help them find their balance again. And how we respond models how they can eventually do it themselves.
Even when a child makes a poor choice, but isn't melting down, like Sabrina opening gifts early, connection still comes first.
Yeah, Kimberly acknowledged the fun and excitement before talking about the rules and thank yous. That connection made Sabrina more open to the lesson. It created an integrative opportunity.
Okay, tantrums specifically. The book reframes them, right?
Yeah, not as manipulation, but as a signal. A sign the child's brain is overwhelmed, disintegrated. A plea for help, really.
So the starting point is empathy. Understanding it's developmental, not just badness.
Right. And that's why ignoring them completely isn't recommended. It's maybe not a time for lecturing, but it is a time for connection, for offering comfort.
But talking too much can make it worse.
It can. Sensory overload when they're already overwhelmed. Sometimes quiet presence is best.
This ties into the idea of spoiling. The book defines it differently.
Yeah, not just about stuff. It's about giving the impression the world revolves around them and maybe more subtly shielding them from all struggle or disappointment.
So overprotecting them from feeling bad is a form of spoiling.
It can be. The book contrasts indulgence, giving in to every whim, with genuine love and connection, which means supporting them through the hard stuff, not removing it entirely.
Because if they never face disappointment, they don't build resilience.
Exactly. They don't learn to delay gratification, work for things, cope with things not going their way. It can foster entitlement.
And it often comes from us wanting to avoid the immediate meltdown, right? Short-term ease over long-term skills.
That's often the trap. And the brain learns patterns. If they always get their way, that becomes the expectation, making things harder later.
Like the boy in the slide example, connecting with his fun first made redirecting him easier.
Yes. Acknowledging his perspective, looks like you're having fun, built rapport before setting the boundary.
So kids need boundaries, absolutely. But discipline starts with tuning in, making them feel seen and heard, even mid-mistake.
That feeling of being seen, safe, soothed, that's the foundation. Then you can guide, teach, problem solve, valuing their mind along the way.
Okay, let's talk connection and action. The book mentions response flexibility. What's that?
It's basically choosing your wisest self in that moment. Not reacting on autopilot with a one-size-fits-all punishment, but consciously deciding how to respond to this child's need right now to foster connection.
Like Tina with the iPad. She felt frustrated, but paused, connected first by just sitting nearby, asking gently, then brought up the rule.
And the connection made the redirection land differently, didn't it? The daughter already felt understood. But the book warns about something getting in the way of that flexibility. Shark music.
Huh, yeah. What's shark music?
Is all that background noise in our own heads, our past experiences, fears, anxieties that colors how we see the current situation with our child. It makes us reactive, fear-based.
Like the parent overreacting to a bad grade because of their own school issues or fears about the future.
Perfect example. That's the shark music playing, drowning out what the child actually needs in that moment. Recognizing it is the first step to quieting it.
So we can pause, get present, and respond to the situation, not old fears.
Exactly. And a key way to cut through shark music is the connection principle. Chase the why.
Instead of assuming, get curious.
Yes. Resist jumping to conclusions. Ask yourself, I wonder why they did that. What might be going on for them? It stops us from just reacting based on our own theories.
Like the lipstick on the mirror.
Right.
Curiosity led to understanding it wasn't malicious, just misguided creativity.
Right. And even with serious stuff, anger, aggression, understanding the why, the internal world, helps address the root cause, not just the surface behavior.
It shows kids were on their side, giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Builds so much trust. Now, along with what we do, the book stresses how we communicate.
The tone of voice, body language,
Yeah.
makes a huge difference. Get in your car seat, said calmly versus angrily.
Totally different messages. And offering a choice within a boundary, like the bedtime story example, feels less like a threat, more collaborative.
This leads to the connection cycle. Communicate comfort, validate, 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 then redirect. Let's break that down. First, communicate comfort.
It's about helping them calm down first, just like soothing a baby. And often it's nonverbal.
Like a gentle touch.
Yes, a hand on the arm, a hug. That loving touch literally changes brain chemistry, boosts oxytocin, lowers cortisol, it calms the nervous system.
Whereas threatening body language looming over them, finger wagging does the opposite.
Right, it ramps up the fear response, activates the downstairs brain. Think about approaching a scared animal you use calm, non-threatening signals, same idea. Feeling threatened shuts down the thinking brain.
So communicating, I'm safe, I'm here to help, allows their brain to actually process and regulate. Okay, then validate, validate, validate.
This is about letting them know you get it. I hear you. I understand why you feel that way. Even if you don't like the behavior, you acknowledge the feeling behind it, making them feel felt.
Like with the daughter having a bad day, just saying, wow, sounds like a rough day, helped her calm down, even before fixing anything.
Exactly. It's attuning to their inner world.
Yeah.
And trying to use logic when they're highly emotional, usually pointless. Their upstairs brain isn't available. Talking can even add to the overload.
So just acknowledge the feelings simply, you're really angry right now.
Yes. And validate their perspective. Roger did this with Allie. I agree, it wasn't your fault she bumped you before moving to empathy for her sister. That validation opened the door.
Okay, so connect first using comfort and validation, then we move to redirection. The book has that 1, 2, 3 approach.
Right. Simple framework, one definition. Discipline is teaching.
Okay.
2 principles. Wait until your child is ready. Be consistent, but not rigid.
Got it.
And 3 desired outcomes. Insight, empathy, and repair.
Let's unpack those principles. Wait until your child is ready. Why is timing key?
Because if they're still in fight or flight, they can't learn. The shoplifting crayon story was great. The mom didn't punish immediately. She let the daughter feel the discomfort, reflected with calm questions later. The child's own conscience kicked in.
Is finding that sweet spot for learning calm but alert.
Exactly. Not overwhelmed, not tuned out. Then be consistent, but not rigid. What's that distinction?
Consistency gives kids security, they know what to expect. But rigidity is blindly following rules without context, sometimes driven by our own fear.
So consistency is clear boundaries, but flexibility means sometimes making thoughtful exceptions. Like comforting a scared child at night, even if the rule is stay in bed.
Right. Or adjusting homework rules for a special event. It shows you're thinking, not just enforcing rules robotically. Safety is non-negotiable, of course.
Okay, principles covered. Now the outcomes. First, insight. Building self-awareness, yes. Helping kids notice and understand their own feelings and reactions. Naming feelings for little ones. Looks like you were mad. Asking open-ended questions for older kids. What was happening for you then? Each reflection builds mindsight.
Makes sense. Second outcome, empathy. understanding
Well,
others.
right, prompting them to consider the other person's perspective. How do you think your sister felt when that happened? What might she say? Helps them make choices that consider others.
And third, repair, taking action.
Yeah, figuring out how to make things right. What can you do to fix this? What needs to happen now? It follows insight and empathy, fostering that sense of we and responsibility.
So these three outcomes, insight, me, empathy, you, repair, we all work together, building those frontal lobe connections.
Exactly. You saw it with Roger and Allie teaching through conversation definition, waiting till she was ready, being flexible principles, leading to her thinking about her actions, her sister's feelings, and a plan outcomes.
And the phone example with Nyla waiting until the next day showed waiting for readiness and focusing on empathy for the parents' dented trust.
Perfect. Okay, so after connecting and keeping the 1-2-3 approach in mind, the book offers a toolkit, REDIRECT strategies.
An acronym, what does it stand for?
Reduce words. Embrace emotions. Describe, don't preach. Involve your child. Reframe a no. Emphasize the positive. Creatively approach. Teach mindset tools.
Well, okay, a whole menu. Let's hit a few. R, reduce words. Why less is more.
When emotions are high, brains get flooded. Fewer words, less overwhelm, more clarity, especially mid-tantrum.
Makes sense. E, embrace emotions. Saying yes to feelings, no to behavior.
Exactly. You can feel angry, but you can't hit. I see you really want that toy, but we can't take it home. Validating the feeling helps regulate them so they can hear the limit. Denying the feeling often escalates things.
Okay. D, describe, don't preach. Just state facts.
Yeah. Instead of stop being careless, try the sunglasses broke when you threw them. It's less accusatory, invites reflection. What happened there?
Involve your child. Getting them to help find solutions.
Yes. Fosters responsibility. We need to figure out the fruit snack situation. What's a fair limit? Even asking young kids later, remember when you got mad? What happened?
Reframe a no into a conditional. Yes. How does that work?
Acknowledge the desire, set the limit, offer an alternative or future possibility. No more park now, but maybe we can come back Saturday. No concert, but how about we listen to their music at home? Tone matters, not patronizing.
E, emphasize the positive. Focus on what they're doing right.
Yeah, catch them being good instead of stop whining. Wow, I love how clearly you asked for that.
Yeah.
Reinforces the desired behavior.
Creatively approach. Use playfulness.
Sometimes. Injecting humor or imagination can diffuse tension, like the stupid word example, exploring the word's meaning instead of just banning it. A little creativity can prevent big battles.
And T, teach mindset tools. Giving them ways to understand themselves.
Right. Using things like the brain in the hand model to explain feelings, helping them label emotions, talking about how drawing helps calm them down, giving them tools for self-regulation.
That REDIRECT list is really practical. Lots of options depending on the situation. So wrapping up, what are the big takeaways?
I think the core message is discipline, connect, then redirect. Always. Say yes to the emotion, even when you have to say no to the behavior.
And it's okay if it doesn't always work perfectly.
Absolutely. There's no magic wand. Kids might still be upset. But the other big message is hope. Our mistakes aren't fatal. Repair is powerful. Reconnecting after we mess up is hugely beneficial for kids.
Like the Creeps of Wrath story, it's about modeling how to make things right.
Exactly. It all comes back to helping them build insight, empathy, and the ability to repair. That's how we raise thriving kids with good relationships who are caring, responsible, feel good about themselves.
Even the tough moments are chances to build that.
Every single one.
So a final thought for you listening. Think about one of your own common, maybe autopilot discipline reactions. How could you consciously bring in more connection, more of that teaching mindset next time you use it? Just one small shift to start.
It's a journey, right? Progress, not perfection.
Definitely. Thanks for out diving deep with us today.